that don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD and Melissa.
Hey guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD with my wonderful co-host, Melissa.
Hello, JD.
Melissa, you're pretty busy today, aren't you?
Super busy. Happy Monday.
Yeah, that's always the way it goes. All right. Well, I'm super excited because it's been a little while since we had a real estate stud in our presence. So I'm really excited to introduce you guys to TJ Kosen. He's runs a real estate investment company at a pretty big level out of Texas. He's the founder of REIAF. These guys are, working 35 deals right now in their funnel, and I think that there's a lot that we could take away from him. TJ, thank you so much for coming on the show and finding time to meet with us.
Absolutely, JD, Melissa, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast.
Awesome. Well, for those in our audience who maybe don't know you or haven't been exposed to you before, can you give us a little bit of a rundown of how you got started and where you're at now?
Yeah, absolutely. Made all the mistakes there were to make, I guess, right? I got started in 2006. My first deal was 112 apartment units in Memphis, Tennessee. It's a long story, which is probably a separate podcast because we're talking hopefully lead gen and acquisitions now. Mm-hmm. But the only problem with 2006 is 2008 was only like maybe 2 years away. And you know it mathematically, but we didn't really see the whole market like implosion coming. Did some rebuilding, and the main business market right now is we're in North Texas. We do a pretty good level, I guess. It depends on who you're competing yourself against, but a level of wholesale, residential distressed stuff. I like to think of ourselves as more of a marketing and negotiations company than a real estate and like product company, because if we can generate good leads, convert good leads, then the dispo and the sales obviously takes a lot of work, but it takes a lot less work. Where we really like to try to shine is really merging like an acquisition technique with what we're going to do to dispo the property, which means we don't just do a binary model. We don't just do fix and flips. In fact, our fix and flips are right now our lowest margin and highest turnover ratio deals on the board. We still have, I think, 6 or 7, so about 20% deals turn into that. But our faster turnover is always more fun. And what we like to say is the only way you do that, the only way you build a team, and the only way you like have employees and keep them busy and loyal is by having enough lead gen and enough expectations on the front end to build a company funnel to fill up everyone's like ability to perform. A lot of guys kind of go about it backwards. They maybe hire a bunch of guys, and then they think the guys are the revenue generators. Not in real estate, maybe in roofing, maybe in construction. In our construction company, in our roofing company, it's definitely like that. But in real estate, like we're the lead gen company, and they're the ones that have to perform to make sure that stuff works. And we're here to give our sales guys the tools and the skills to do that.
Yeah, I really love that. And that's the way we like to look at it ourselves too. And every time we go to a real estate investors meeting and they say, oh, so you're a wholesaler, it burns it takes every fiber in my being to say, no, we do this, and this, and we've been in business for this long. Because wholesaling is such a dirty word, and it is a little cliche. I also view us as a sales and marketing company, but really we're problem solvers. And just like you said, we're trying to match that acquisition strategy with the dispo strategy to meet the seller's needs. And then hopefully we can profit from it as well. Mm-hmm.
I used to really not like wholesaling, that word, that concept. And then once you start doing it, you really prefer it.
Yeah. And with us, when we're comparing it to fix and flip, one of the things we look at is if we can get 50% of the revenue that we would normally get from the fix and flip as a wholesale deal, we're going to wholesale it in, 2 weeks as opposed to a 6-month flip with all that extra capital invested.
So yeah, I like that you say 6 months too, because people ask me all the time, oh, what's your average flip day? Because like, well, there's not an average. Like a short one is 3 months and a long one is a year. So I guess an average is like, what is that? Maybe 7 months if you do the math.
Right.
But there's no such thing as an average flip. Even if you try to do as many like pieces, kind of process driven and like cookie cutter as you can, man, you're still bumping into stuff that you didn't realize when you bought the place.
Yeah,
For sure.
absolutely. There's a lot. Well, I am really interested because you are a marketing and sales business and your widget has to be real estate. Can we maybe deep dive into your marketing strategy, how you guys are doing it, how your company's set up? Just kind of give us
Absolutely.
a rundown of what is allowing you to generate enough leads to fill your pipeline with 35 deals a month.
So a bunch of different things. And no, I think it's a good question because it is a decent volume. A lot of people are deep onto one marketing avenue and just like focus on that and then try to go broader with the geographic area. So for example, a lot of guys go out there and they just cold call the crap out of everyone, which, it works well, but eventually run out of data. We like trying kind of multi-prong approach with marketing, especially as we grow the team and as we grow the company. Our bread and butter is Google PPC online marketing with a kind of a single market focus. A lot of guys do the statewide focus or the nationwide focus. That's really popular in kind of the education space, I guess. And we're not great at that. We're really good at a low cost per deal in a one market per campaign. So we have one over DFW and surrounding areas. We have one in Houston, and we're actually, it's kind of as strange as it sounds, we're about to start up. I think they call it in Texas, fixing to start up a second campaign in DFW so that we can catch a broader pool of things. So that's our main marketing focus. Right now, our cost per lead is actually kind of high, but that's because we're dialed in and optimized on what kind of traffic we're attracting to the campaigns. Our cost per deal is going to sound insulting. In February, I think it was like $1,200 when we combine our paid marketing and our referral marketing. So there's always an aggregate. So you got to figure out one marketing vertical and figure out how well that's doing. So then we take just PPC, and February was an insane month. We haven't finished March's numbers because we're behind. But February cost per contract was something like $2,500 or something like that. So just insanely low.
That's crazy.
But it means that we're generating a lower volume of very high quality leads and then converting probably better than anyone else I know, just because of the dispo options that we're able to give people. Because a wholesale company really they have to fit in the model, right? They got to go whatever the number is, 80%, 78%, 75%, 70%, whatever the market is, minus repairs, minus wholesale profit that's it. That's all I can do. Where we're able to capitalize better is when we're on the negotiation side. We offer the seller stuff. We offer leasebacks. So that makes the property less marketable for wholesale, but it also means that we can negotiate better and then we can close on it and do something better for the dispo. So that's kind of how we mold the three different aspects of our offering to the sellers and generate that. Our return on ad spend is obscene. It was obscene for like February and March. And whatever month we're in, April, right? It's going to be obscene this month too, just because of this. We're not dealing on kind of the wholesale like markup margin of 4 to 5x. We're dealing on closer to like 20 or 30x, depending on how well we can negotiate.
That's fantastic numbers. That's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. I am wondering because we had been speaking in like your owner finance options where you guys are taking down the property and then doing some sort of owner finance to dispo it, right? So how are you calculating that into your numbers? Are you're calculating the equity? Is that where you're getting your profit number on those deals, or are you just talking about the cash that's coming into the company?
So just the cash is coming into the company because, like every real estate investor, we're broke because we buy more properties with all of our money, and then we misjudge the renovation cost, and then we run out of money. So we gotta keep selling notes and things that we should be keeping. So we just count the math that's actually coming in on those things, not the equity buildup on the properties.
Sure.
There's two different models on the dispo side or the owner finance kind of niche. Both of them predicated on knowing what is really good in the submarket or the neighborhood that's working in. So, for example, if take a $1 million neighborhood, it's probably not a good candidate for a seller financing deal necessarily, at least not with our model. Our model is median home price and well below that. So our cheapest one that we've done in the past couple months has been 60K purchase price, sale price 100K, something like that. We've done a bunch in the 120 to probably 200. Starts to maybe peak at maybe 220. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the numbers. And the way we do that is, yeah, we'll put it on the MLS, but we're trying to attract a retail buyer for the property as well as we can. So we market the crap out of it on our dispo side. We call all the investors, obviously, but an investor's not going to pay as high a retail price as we'd like. So we'll do bandit signs, kind of old school, and do, hey, we got a house for sale in this neighborhood, and just put 30, 40 bandit signs around and get calls in and then pre-qual potential buyers. We'll do that. We'll do like Facebook, like garage sale ads, that kind of stuff, obviously the MLS. And then referrals are big, both for our, I'm not sure, probably 20 to 30% of our business is actually referral based. So PPC is a huge piece. I would say referrals, probably about 20 realistically is another good piece of our business. And then the rest of it's kind of mixed between cold calling, mailers, and some really, really targeted like niche stuff that we try to dial in. But the seller finance stuff, we sell it, we take 10 to 20% down, ideally closer to 20%. And then we usually sell the note to recapitalize the investment, sometimes in a simultaneous transaction where we're originating at the same time as the sale. And then the rich dude that gets to buy the note, he gets the cash flow, a fantastic deal, and we get paid out on the equity, depending on the house.
Yeah,
that's the short answer.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely great. I am wondering, are you guys running your PPC internally? Do you have a company that you're contracting that out to? How are you managing PPC? I know that it's a strategy as far as marketing goes that a lot of real estate investors feel overwhelmed jumping into, especially me. So we've hired ours out, but I'm wondering what you guys are doing.
So I have a long list of folks that I would not recommend and not use. Partially because I've tried some of them. We do it semi in-house. I built the campaign years ago with a buddy of mine who isn't working with me anymore. And then through actually networking, found another guy that's, he does it full time, but he does it for like a company. He does like extra accounts on the side and he manages it in correlation with me. So a lot of people bump into trouble and get the higher like PPC stuff or PPC spend is they turn it over to some of the big guys, and some of them are really good, I suppose. But a lot of their solutions to all the problems is, well, just spend more money, which drives up your lead cost, drives up your conversion cost, drives up your contract cost, and obviously cuts into your margin. Where we find we do well is we really try to constrain the targeted ad cost and then really, really dial in well on the keywords and the negative keywords. We have probably 10,000 negative keywords, something like that. And then we'll go in once every 2 weeks, look at all the traffic that's converted, and reanalyze negative keywords. We find that taking out our competitors when someone searches, who's a competitor? I don't know, Home Light or any of the iBuyers. We actually find that taking out those as keywords increases our results. Some people find that targeting their competitors increases their results. So there's always a bit of a kind of specific market understanding of how to do it. For example, I tried it in Raleigh, North Carolina, just copying our campaign and moving out there, and I couldn't make it perform as well as I wanted to. Our cost per deal was way higher than Dallas. And I'm like, well, I can make it work, but I'm already doing better where I'm at. Why am I going to go try to figure that out? I'll just do better where I'm at. So it's always going to be a little market specific, which is annoying and frustrating. And then it's always going to be manager specific. And then it's going to always be conversion rate specific. Because if all you're doing is wholesaling, you're going to leave a ton of money on the table. You're going to get, 3, 4, 5x on your ad spend, which is, you can live on it, I guess. But by the time you pay out your acquisitions and the dispo and the overhead and all the crap to keep the machine running, you're making 15 to 20%, which is, again, not bad, but it's a lot of work. Versus if we're really dialed in our core market, our North Texas market and Houston, and we know this neighborhood, we can owner finance this house for this number because we've done 10 of them in the past 6 months. And we know this neighborhood, we can flip or we can wholesale or we can attract this kind of buyer avatar over here. Then that's how we really, really like just have a multiple on our ROI versus, just I got a wholesale and my number is, 75% minus repairs. That's great, but it's a binary product and we don't like binary because I think it's too unflexible.
Right.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It really is. And one of the reasons that a lot of people like the PPC as far as marketing is once you get it dialed in, you're just turning up your lead volume, and you control that. The more you allow it to spin, the more theoretically, there's the law of diminishing returns. But you can turn it up to increase that lead flow to keep your business fed. But
Absolutely.
getting that tricky part is getting it dialed in, like you guys have already done. So I'm wondering now, one of the things that we hear all the time is that the most important thing with your PPC leads is your speed to the lead. Once that lead comes in, how fast are you getting them on the phone? What does the process look like for you guys from the time somebody clicks submit on your web form to the first contact? Or what are you guys doing in between there? I think that's really important to hit on.
So we use a pretty standard funnel. It's nothing really special. We use a carrot site that has it has the call to action right up on top, and it's got the 2 different intake forms. We find it converts as well as any of the expensive. Honestly, we tried some of the competitor websites, and we just like the carrot stuff. We like the flexibility, and they're the biggest one in the marketplace, kind of for a reason.
Yeah.
We customize the crap out of it so it looks a little bit unique and a little bit specific to us.
You don't have the same picture down at the bottom as everybody
change
else.
all that out. I put a sexy ass picture of me and my wife up there. My wife's the sexy part. I'm the they look like maybe I'll sell them the house. And then again, I haven't talked to a seller in a year and a half. The last deal I talked to, we owned that house for a year, so I'm now cut off from that part of the business. I talked to the guys that talk to sellers. But again, back to the carrot side. So it's got the intake form 1. They fill that out. If we're not calling them before they're done with intake form 2, then our team is too slow. If we're paying $400 for a lead, or whatever it is, it ranges between. It's got a big spread depending on the keyword targeting, but it ranges between $250 to $500. If you're paying that much for a lead, and you better treat it like it's an important lead, because they're typing in something that's intentional on their side. They already have the desire. Now you need to figure out their qualifications and their actual motivation, whether it be just money, in which case it's a bidding war, or whether it's something else that's like secondary to money. And usually it's obviously that. So yeah, the last one we negotiated. Well, I don't know about the last one, but one of the best ones that we have, for an example, we literally called them while they were filling out the second form, like sometime last week. I like to tell a story. There were even a couple of years ago, I think it was 2.5 years ago. Things are so hot. We had our acquisition guys. I only had 2 at the time. They were out at some networking thing drinking. It was like 4:00 on a Friday. I was hanging out in the office in a tank top and gym shorts, and a lead came in, and they're like, "Dude, we are on the opposite side of town. I can't take it." And I'm like, "Man, I want to talk to a seller." So I took it. And he said a lot of stuff that made sense. I set an appointment for him like in 2 days, and I was like, you know what? Let me move some stuff around and see if I can get out there, because he said a couple of triggering things, like a price that made sense and a competitor that hadn't been out there yet to see the place. And like I said, I don't go on that many appointments, but I'm like, you know what? Let me move some stuff around. Let me see if I can get out there. So I literally go to my house, which is 10 minutes away, grab my operations guy, say, hey, come on, I got to get some pants. Let's go out and see this house. Stick a contract in the back seat of the car. I'm out there in 45 minutes from when the lead came in to when we had a signed contract. Now, our competition, again, I said that this guy said he'd been talking to one of our competitions and he hadn't been out there for a couple of days, and he said a price that made sense. We're literally sitting down to write the contract after we agreed to everything, hadn't signed it yet, hadn't even filled out a price on the contract, and I hear a knock on the front door. Well, here comes whoever they are. Let's call them New Western because they're fun to pick on. Right. So here comes New Western knocking on the front door. Hey, I'm here to see the house. Like, bro, I just sold it. And I'm sitting there going like, it was a good price, right? It's a good price. I hope you just sold it. That's what I'm doing here. I go, what if I can get you more money? Like, dude, I've been trying to get a hold of you for 2 days. He hadn't come out yet. Well, but what if I can do better than him? It's like, bro, I shook this man's hand. My word is my bond, or whatever they say. And we already made a deal. I appreciate it. Let's close the door in the kid's face. So 45 minutes to get the contract. We owned that property for 45 days and we made $45K because we cleaned it up and wholesaleed it.
Yeah, and if you'd have been 30 minutes late, you'd have missed out on that deal.
I would have missed out on 45K by 10 minutes because we go up to the house, right? And again, it's not like I walk through a lot of houses anymore. He goes up and it's like, hey, here to see the house. Well, he's like, oh, go look. And, well, you want to show us anything? It's like, no, looks like a house. We're cleaning shit out. Go. Like, it's kind of weird, but hey, whatever. So we do that and talk price. Yeah, I got a contract in my car. You guys want to do it? That price works for us. It works for you. Let's go. So yeah, let's go. So that's how we treat them in the company. And that's an extreme example. The way we monetize better on the follow-up sequence is if they hit the webpage, we follow up. 2 years ago, follow-up didn't work as well because there was so much more competition between iBuyers and just the volume of people doing stuff that it really was speed to lead was the only key factor that we saw that converted well. Now that's still critical, but now we have a lot more follow-up where we're following up, texts, calls, we'll bounce between acquisition guys. Maybe one acquisition guy says something that pissed them off. We pass it over to another one. We get a girl on the phone because there's a guy talking to him, or vice versa. Whatever it is, we'll try to hit that lead as well as we can. We'll do the if they go ghost, text them, hey, great news, give me a call, kind of thing. I call you up like, hey, what's the great news? I don't know. Great news is I don't know. I'm going to offer you $1,500 more than I thought I was going to offer you. I don't know. So we follow up in just really hardcore is converting well for us now. And then getting in front of people is at least important in our local market. We don't always do it, but we try to, because that gives us an edge over the virtual guy or the guy that's going to get out there, a week from Tuesday. We always push for knowing our numbers on the front end, trying not to renegotiate when we get into the deal, and honestly, just being honest with the seller about what their options are on the property. We're trying to solve their fundamental problem. And if their fundamental problem is money, then they should probably list it. And they can either list it with us or they can list it with someone else. I don't really care. If their fundamental problem is, I got to close in 10 days because my brother's going to jail and it's a hoarder house and whatever, then, that's a different motivating thing that we have to now address. And that's why we approach it from trying to merge the exit strategy to the acquisition strategy as well as we can to obviously make us more money, but also provide more options for the seller so they can make an informed decision about what they're doing with their properties.
Yeah, I think that's great. You guys are obviously killing it with your strategy. Sounds like you got your processes dialed in. I am curious, are you guys looking to do like a one appointment close? Are you sending them out there with the intention of putting that property under contract when they're at that appointment? Is that part of the process or the goal for the process?
Oh, we sure try to. We had a lead that came in. I had 2 leads coming on Friday. No, I had 2 leads coming on like Thursday or something, set an appointment for Friday. Took the contract. It was actually kind of a similar, no one's going to jail, but mom died and the house was kind of hoardery. They locked it up at 135. And I think we only gave them 135 because it had a Saturn car in the garage because we were about to get it at 125. And they were really nice people. I'm like, you just paid more than anyone's ever paid for a Saturn by paying 10 grand more. Like, say we did whatever, and we wholesaled it. Right now, our offers are at 200. We're probably going to get about 215 for it.
Wow.
But the only way we got that, our acquisition guys can sign contracts. Yeah, that's no problem. If it's a little suspect, we need to double check it. We try to get the buyer to sign it, and then we review it in house, and then sign it on our side. But no, we keep, especially with leads like that, and leads with no option, leads with like limited exit strategies on our part. If we can't perform what we're supposed to perform, then we need to make sure we know our numbers and we keep a pretty tight rein on that. If we're doing something else, if we're trying to do a novation, or the seller's trying to shoot for just a number that doesn't make sense, then we'll be honest with them and say, hey, we'll give it a shot, we'll see what we can do, but we'll run down the options. We'll be like, hey, we're going to try to wholesale, we're going to try to get another investor, we're going to try to do a novation, we're going to try to do something else here to get you the money you want. But we need to make sure that if for some reason the market doesn't bear the price that you're asking us, that hey, we did our best, and you guys are free to do whatever you want to with the property at that time.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. TJ, I really think that you dropped a lot of really good information. You clearly know your business really well, and I'm sure some of our listeners have got a lot of information out of this, valuable information out of this. If they wanted to find out more about you or see what you guys are doing, where should we send them to go?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all over Facebook and Instagram. A buddy of mine just sent me, I don't even know the kid. He sent us a lead on Facebook today, just texted me in the DMs about a lot deal. It's 2 acres that we might be fixing to buy. So all over those 2 platforms, TJ Kosen, really easy to find. If you want more information about us or the company, our kind of self-branded, I guess. Yeah, self-branded thing is either tjkosen.com, because I'm a really creative guy, or REIAF. REI stands for real estate investing. AF, I don't know what it stands for, but it sounded cool. So we put it out there, and you can click on that and see all about us, I guess, or at least as much as we update the websites.
Awesome, TJ. Well, we really appreciate you coming on and sharing some of the key insights to your business.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, JD, Melissa. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information, check out our website, therealestatejam.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Real Estate Jam. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at therealestatejam@gmail.com. See you next episode.